You are listening to the Thinking Big podcast, episode number 4, She Bangs, She Bangs. In today's podcast, we'll be talking with William Hung about courage, American Idol, and his new book.
Welcome to the Thinking Big podcast with Sean Osborn, the show helping you think bigger into your life and potential. Sean believes by equipping you with the tools, strategies, and philosophies required to be successful in all aspects of your life, you can achieve anything you believe in. Empowering our own growth makes a deeply positive and lasting impact on our lives, community, and our world. Now, here's Sean.
Did you realize that we are all one courageous action away from changing our entire life? Sometimes the change in direction is small. Sometimes it's astonishing. If I look at my life, most, if not all of my growth has come as a result of a courageous action. A time where I decided to step outside of the comfort zone. By the way, the comfort zone, it might be comfortable, but it's a shitty place to live. It really is. I think the comfort zone is far and away the single biggest dream killer in modern day life. We stretch, grow, and learn when we are outside of the comfort zone and pushing ourselves in new ways. And in order to do that, we have to be courageous and have the courage to do it. Most of us back down a lot of the time because courage is not comfortable. One of the better quotes I've heard is, fear is wetting your pants and courage is doing what you're supposed to do with those wet pants. I remember the first time I skydived. It took a little bit of courage and possibly a little bit of stupidity to jump out of a perfectly good plane. Luckily, had I peed my pants, it would have dried by the time I landed, because courage isn't not being scared. It's being scared to death and still doing it. And that's why I am so excited for today's guest. I remember watching him on American Idol, where he became famous for all the wrong reasons. William went from being laughed off American Idol to performing live with Ricky Martin and recording multiple albums and changing the direction of his life. Imagine mustering the courage to try out for American Idol, only to bomb the audition in front of millions of people. That level of nationwide humility would be enough to make even the most confident among us admit defeat. William's story is proof that dreams can come true if we get off our asses and out of the comfort zone and live with a little bit of courage. So without further ado, I want to welcome William to the podcast. So to start, William, tell us the story of getting on American Idol in the first place and how did that come about?
Well, when I get on American Idol, I would say that it all started because I started with singing karaoke when I was 10 years old with my parents. Then, as I head into college to study for civil engineering, I realized that even though I was good at math and science, I wasn't very passionate about it. Over time, I got depressed and I wondered what else could I do in my life. So one day, I saw this poster for a school talent show at the Clark Kerr dormitories. I figured, why not? Let's do it. So then I sang my favorite song, She Bangs. And to my surprise, I won. The grand prize was a DVD player. So that's what gave that's what gave me the confidence to audition for American Idol.
So where did you've had to have had this courage coming from a young age. Where did that courage to step out and step out of that comfort zone and where did this courage come from?
I remember when I was young, in elementary school in Hong Kong, there was a lot of pressure to get good grades. But I'm not a great student. I make it, but I don't get the highest ranks. And most parents, they would push their kids really hard. They would belittle them. They might beat them up. But fortunately, my parents didn't go that route. My mom, I will never forget what she taught me. She taught me to find my own unique value in the world.
That is fantastic, getting that kind of support from your family growing up.
Yeah.
And what's the biggest thing that you learned while being on American Idol?
Well, the biggest thing I learned is to not take things personally, because the judges, Randy, Paula, and Simon, they just playing the roles. I didn't see a need to get angry or upset over their criticism.
That could have really crushed a lot of people to hear that kind of feedback.
Yeah.
I remember watching that episode of American Idol and thinking, holy shit. And what's happened since American Idol? I know you've been busy with a lot of things, but what's been the journey?
Well, right after Fox broadcasted my audition, one of my classmates saw how people were selling my bobblehead dolls and T-shirts on the very next day. He told me, William, did you see people selling the bobblehead dolls and T-shirts on eBay? I was like, what? Are you serious? And then I got hundreds of emails from Entertainment Tonight, for movie opportunities. I was thinking, is this real?
Did you
And that's how.
did you expect any of that? I mean, did you expect to hear anything or to have any of that?
No. Another crazy thing that happened was how one of my fans, Don Chin, he created WilliamHung.net, and somehow after less than a month, I got a GoDaddy email saying that my website has crashed because it received over 8 million hits.
Holy cow. 8 million hits. Wow. That is something else. So I know that you after Idol, you created several albums. Explain some of that, of what went on after that, and what you did a little bit after that.
Right. So that's what led to the recording contract. So because the Koch Records at the time, they saw this trend, so they reached out to me directly and asked me, "Hey, William, I saw how your website is getting like millions of hits. I'm interested to give you a $25,000 record contract." And as a 20-year-old college student, my answer was an obvious yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So yeah, that's how everything started.
And you ended up recording what, 3 albums?
3 albums, yes.
What was the first one, Inspiration, or was that after that?
Yes, first one was Inspiration. The second one was Hung for the Holidays, and the third one was Miracle Happy Summer.
Oh, that's awesome. So after that, I know you got kind of back into, after the singing and stuff, I know you got back into kind of the corporate America, or not necessarily corporate, but you got back into doing
government job,
government job, 9 to 5, yeah. So what led up to that? What made you go back that route?
Well, after the first 4 years of living my dream life, my entertainment career slowed down. And then it was time to make a choice. Do I want to continue to go for showbiz, or do I want to get a stable job? And I chose to get the stable job. So that's why I finished school. I got my government job, and I've been working there for the last 8 years.
Explain how you got into kind of the speaking, the keynotes, and the different coaching and stuff that you got into. And that's where I think willhung.com is where your coaching and speaking stuff is, correct?
Right. That's right. So when I got into the first government job, I thought I was excited for the sheriff's department. I thought I'd be doing the work like crime scene investigations, CSI, or Criminal Minds. Instead, I was reading police reports every day about rape, homicide, hate crime, and the goal was to extract data so that FBI can do the crime reporting.
Right.
That's how you see those reports online.
Right.
I mean, it's important work, but it's not the work I wanted to sign up for.
That's not what you're wanting to do.
So that's what. Right. So and then one day I saw the advertisement for Toastmasters. it's next to my workplace. And that's how I got started with speaking about 7 to 8 years ago. And initially, when I started, I just thought it's a hobby. It's something that makes me happy.
Right.
It was something that helps me relive the performance spirit
Right.
within me.
So how good were you when you first started back at Toastmasters? I love Toastmasters, by the way. How did how did you do first coming into Toastmasters? Were you a natural at that, or did it take a little bit of training?
I definitely needed some training, but people would say I was above average, like because I didn't have difficulty sharing my story with people.
Right.
But I still had a lot of room to improve. So yeah, over the years, I definitely worked on improving my craft for speaking and also helping other people with speaking.
Right.
Because it's actually very complicated. There's a lot behind it. And the last 3 years is when I studied like very seriously from the top performers all around the world across different industries, see what they do, how they articulate their stories.
Right.
And that's when I took it very seriously.
Yeah, speaking and telling stories is definitely an art form.
Yeah.
And based on what you've done since, this seems like it's something that you are very passionate about.
Yes.
Now, from a speaking standpoint, what's the best advice you can give?
I would say you can find the best personal story that somehow shows people the journey that you went through, something that has past failures or frustrations. I feel that's the kind of story that people connect with the best right now.
Right. Right. So what excites you most about what you're doing right now? What drives you? What's the what's the passion that keeps you going in the speaking and coaching?
I feel really good about myself when I help more people uncover their stories, their talents, and their passion, and then put it out in the world, and then connect people at a deeper emotional level. Like they use words like masterful for one of my clients, where she delivered her first speech.
Right.
And that's really rare, So another one of my clients, she got accepted into a TEDx talk, after just 6 pitches to local TEDx events. So those observations feel very empowering.
Right. So you've been able to, I guess, get with people then and really listen to their stories and help them develop something that is powerful and something that they can actually take out and do TEDx's. And so, I mean, that's a big thing to be able to go out and do a TED Talk. And I know you've done yours. How did you like doing the TED Talk?
I really enjoyed it. It's definitely a life-changing experience for me. I've actually done 2 TEDx talks. One from last year for TEDx Was, and then one earlier this year for TEDx Chula Vista. The second one I did this year, I definitely try to keep my emotions inside of me. But as soon as I done, I cried tears of joy inside that red middle of the red circle.
Right.
So that's something that I feel like I want to do more of.
And I don't think, well, I'll tell you, sometimes it does when you see someone that gives a talk like that lays out their life, their passion. I mean, you do feel the emotion up there on stage. I mean, it goes through you. You definitely feel it.
Yeah.
What are the biggest goals that you have on your speaking and your coaching? Where do you see that going? I mean, if you had 5 years from now, where would you like to be on your speaking and your coaching and stuff?
Right now, I am focusing on building an online coaching business model. So I'm working on a few clients at a time. And then eventually I would like to expand into group coaching. And the big picture is more like creating William Hung Academy or William Hung University of some
I like the ring of that.
because I had a dream that recently came to my mind. like my William Hung Academy, it will have like 3 floors. The first floor will be for gaming. The second floor could be for entertainment, and then the third floor could be for speaking.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I love those dreams. And that sounds great. The
Yeah,
William
yeah,
Hung Academy. I like that. There's a good ring to that.
yeah.
There is a good ring to that. So talking about, I know you've I think in October you released your book, Champion by Choice. Can you explain a little bit why you decided to write a book, and how long did it take you to write that book?
Very long process for writing this book, Champion by Choice. I got this idea by speaking at one of the global conferences last year, because their theme of the event was Champion by Choice. And then I reflected on this. It's like, wow, I feel like I am champion by choice, because I wasn't the most talented singer. I'm not the most talented speaker, but people still chose me anyway. And I feel that more people can become champions in their own communities.
That's right. If you have the desire and you're persistent, I'm telling you, you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
So the book talks about what you say is the 3 C's. Can you explain just a little bit about that? Obviously I don't want to give away the book or anything, but I want to pick enough interest to.
Yeah, of course. So the 3 C's are communication, context, and connection. It all starts with how you communicate your visions and values to people. And then, this is a big picture podcast. So context is about, to me, means seeing the big picture. Right. What kind of impact do you really want to make in the long term? Because our paths will continue to evolve. My path will continue to evolve, because when I look at my whole journey, like even when I talk to you about the speaking journey, when I first started out, I was so fixated on the paid keynote speaker path,
right?
Because that's the more traditional path,
right?
It's like, okay, I have to get on those big stages, I have to get those big $10,000 paycheck, right. Whatever,
right?
But those are so freaking hard to get right now, unless you're in the very, very small inner circle, or you belong to some big speakers bureau.
Correct.
Maybe that's not so realistic. Maybe that's not the best direction. Because I've gotten a feel last year. It took so much work and effort that if I put in that time, to build my own audience, build my coaching program,
right.
Maybe I'd be even farther ahead. Who knows? So yeah.
And that's also another way to get the big keynote things. I mean, that's another.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true, because what's interesting about how I look at the evolution of the context, I look at the whole big picture here, is that maybe if I focus more on solving bigger problems for people first, the doors will open. The opportunities will come. It doesn't have to be the paid keynote on the biggest stage in the world.
Right. Well, I'll tell you that. So, how long did it take you to write the book?
About 1.5 years. And then the last part I forgot to mention is the connection. Because without the connection, this book would not be possible. I had to approach so many coaches, friends, and mentors to come up with these ideas in this book.
Right.
So far, I am thrilled and excited to say that all my reviews on Amazon are 5-star reviews. It's not the next bestseller yet, but I'm working on it.
I know it's going to do fantastic. I received my copy, and it is a great book with some fantastic content in it. And for everyone listening, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to the book on Amazon in the show notes, as well as a link to your website, so people can go directly there to get the book and order it. So what do you have planned for 2020?
Well, one of the big transitions I'm planning to make is to become a full-time professional poker player.
What?
It sounds crazy. Yeah, I know.
I did not. Crazy. No, that's not one that I saw coming. Pro poker player, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I definitely thought about this very carefully, because it's not a decision that I just jump right away. Oh my God, what is this? So for the listeners, think about the life that you want to create, and so the life that I want to create for 2020 is that, instead of being stuck with my government job where I don't have flexibility to travel or do things that I want.
Right.
Maybe the life that I want to create is more like, okay, well, in the late morning, I don't have to get up like 6 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
but in the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, I get up, I have my morning routine, meditate, journal, whatever I want to be doing, and then I work on my business.
Right.
Maybe continue to contribute to the mastermind, big phone calls, whatever, right?
Right.
And then in the afternoon, I can put in the hours at the poker tables. Maybe I put in 30 hours a week. Generate just enough money to sustain myself
Right.
and have a good life.
Oh, that sounds that sounds better than mine. I was wanting to become a rapper. I don't think that's I don't think that's going to happen. Again, I want to thank William for joining the podcast today, and you can find a link to his website and his book in the show notes. And I want to thank all of you so much for listening. If you would please subscribe to the podcast in iTunes and leave a review, that's how other people will find the show. Until next episode, here's to you, and always remember your future.